So this is Apple's new 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro, and I've been using it as my daily driver for about the past 6 months now. I was so impressed with Apple's keynote back in November that I impulsively pre-ordered the M1 MacBook Pro to replace my aging 2016 15-inch MacBook Pro, and honestly, that was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. Performance is unreal, battery life is extraordinary, it's ultra portable, and on top of it all, it doesn't even make a peep. Like, what is this sorcery? As you guys may recall, I made quite a few videos about this new M1 MacBook Pro over the past few months. Fast forward 6 months to today, and I still cannot stop raving about how good this laptop is. In fact, I've been enjoying my 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro so much that I decided to pick up a refurbished M1 MacBook Air a few weeks ago to use as my dedicated work computer, you know, for my day job. Again, one of the best decisions that I've ever made. My workflow has sped up tenfold since I invested in these laptops, and I can work away from an outlet for even longer periods of time due to their amazing battery life. So in today's video, I figured it would be cool to update you guys on my M1 MacBooks, as well as talk about the differences that I found between both of these models. So without further ado, let us get right to it. So if you're gonna stop watching this video right here, right now, let me summarize things by saying that these are without question the best MacBooks that I've ever owned, plain and simple. Both these laptops have been complete game changers for me and the work that I do. From intensive 4K video editing to editing raw photos and beyond, the M1 chip is seriously no joke, and the performance of that chip makes these computers feel like they should be at least 3 times their asking price. Honestly, they're kind of a steal for what you get, which is surprising to say for a Mac. Thanks to M1, I can work from anywhere with unbelievable speed, power, battery life, and portability like never before. It's something that definitely seemed a little too good to be true at first, but for my 6 months of experience, I can say with confidence that these M1 MacBooks, they're just on another level. Even if Apple does decide to release a new MacBook, which they very well might pretty soon based on rumors, it's gonna be hard to get disappointed since these M1 machines are just so capable. I think for most use cases, the current Air and Pro are going to satisfy the majority of users. That is, unless you absolutely need a display that's larger than 13 inches. The 13-inch display on both the Air and the Pro isn't an issue for me since I've been wanting to shrink down from a 15-inch MacBook Pro, but still, I can see it being a bit small for some people, in which case you can also get a laptop like this and use it with an external display, so that's always another option. Given the fact that I have both the M1 MacBook Air and M1 MacBook Pro, you guys are probably wondering what the differences are, and surprisingly, they aren't as big as you would expect. I spec'd both these laptops out with 16 gigs of unified memory and 512 gigs of storage, so they are very similar in terms of performance. The only difference is that my MacBook Air has a 7 gig core GPU instead of an 8 gig core like on my Pro. That said, the Air does render videos ever so slightly slower than my Pro due to that 1 gig less in the GPU, but even still, it's light years faster than any previous MacBook that I've ever owned. One of the big differences between these two laptops is the design and the weight. The Air is noticeably thinner and lighter than the Pro, and that's mostly because of the big difference in battery size and the Pro also having a fan for its cooling system. The Air is rated at 18 hours of battery life, whereas the Pro can get around 20. Both are way above anything that we've ever seen before out of a laptop, but you can squeeze some more battery life out of the Pro over the Air. Another big difference is the touch bar. The MacBook Pro features the infamous touch bar above the keyboard, whereas the Air has a standard row of function keys. I enjoy both, but after many years of the touch bar, I'm actually really enjoying the return to function keys on the Air. Sure, it doesn't have as much functionality, but still, the standard row of function keys, it's so much easier to just perform simple things like changing the volume and changing the brightness. Other than that, both the Air and the Pro are virtually the same laptop. They both have 2 USB-C Thunderbolt ports, excellent keyboards, a larger responsive trackpad, Touch ID, pretty good built-in speakers, blazing fast speed, and completely silent operation. All in all, both these MacBooks are much more similar than they are different, which kind of makes it confusing as to which one you should get. I guess it really comes down to what you want to do with your new MacBook and how much battery life you want out of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the Air is going to satisfy most people, but the Pro is labeled accordingly for those who want top performance and battery life. You really can't go wrong with either M1 machine. Both can cut through intense intensive 4K video projects with ease, edit raw photos without an issue, and tackle virtually any task that you throw at them. These are incredibly powerful laptops. To close this video out, if you're on the fence about the M1 MacBook Air and or M1 MacBook Pro, trust me, you are not going to be disappointed with either one of these laptops. I don't recall there ever being a time where I could smoothly edit high-res 4K video without an issue on a $1,200 laptop. It's pretty incredible. My 2016 MacBook Pro was nearly $3,000 and it sounded like a 747 jet plane taking off every single time I was editing a video. Both of these M1 laptops combined cost much less than that, and I haven't even heard a peep out of them. Like I said before, these things feel like they should be at least 3 times their asking price. There's a lot to love here, and I'm excited to see how Apple will top this insane performance, battery life, and just everything these M1 MacBooks offer in future MacBooks to come. It's definitely going to be interesting. Anywho, that's about it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did and you liked what you saw, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button because it always helps out the channel. And until the next one, I'll catch you guys later. Peace!